I can show you today, as far as I'm concerned, I have run election for the office of the President of Nigeria and won. But the system decided otherwise. And they know it.
I listened to some of the speeches at the ADC convention and comments from the bigwigs, including that of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who said if he gets the ticket, this will be his last attempt at the presidency. If the delegates elect him as their presidential candidate and he decides to pick you as the running mate, will you accept?
Well, at this stage, we're not at that stage. Atiku, like I've always said, is my respected leader and my dear elder brother. And his statements, I will always say, is a statement of a leader. And you look at what he used, if.
All right, our guest on Naija Unfiltered on today's edition of the program is His Excellency Peter Obi, former governor of Anambra State, former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, and right now a chieftain of the African Democratic Congress. Your Excellency, good to have you on the program.
Thank you. I'm happy that today I'm honoring this long, disturbing invitation to be part of what you're doing. Thank you very much.
We appreciate you and we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, let's start this way, Your Excellency. The ADC just concluded its convention and congresses, and then INEC, of course, didn't come to monitor it. How did it go, and what's your take on the convention?
First is to tell you that, just like you said, I'm happy that the Congress, which culminated to convention, had come to an end. And what it represents is what can come out when people come together with commitment and resilience to do what is right. And that's what happened. And I'm happy it's come to conclusion. Yes, INEC didn't come to monitor it, but they were notified. The law didn't say they must be there. It said you must notify them. It's like so we notified them. They're duly notified. They know it's happening. Whether they come or not, it does not in any way affect the outcome of the convention, which you saw that went very well.
All right, before the Congress, we also heard about the FCT administration allegedly trying to block the party from using some government facilities, and of course, even the ones belonging to private individuals. What do we make of this style of democracy?
Well, it's unfortunate. For anybody who is in government, it is to your interests and interest of the society that you encourage opposition and other different opinions or associations to be able to be part of what you're doing. That we have reached that level, I will repeat, is unfortunate. It shouldn't be. It's not supposed to be. Because if you look at APC, in 2014, APC did their convention in Eagle Square. So the then government, led by President Jonathan, showed maturity and commitment to our democracy by allowing them the space to do the right, to do whatever they want to do, including criticizing them. But today, the situation is the opposite. They are desperate, doing whatever is possible to ensure the opposition does not exist.
INEC's job is to protect our democracy and guarantee transparent and credible election.
That's it.
But we have an umpire whose ex-handle somehow has shown sympathy or apologies to the ruling APC. What do you make of this?
Well, it's unfortunate. I'm not even looking at the tweet. If indeed he did that in the past and are choosing to now be Paul instead of continuing being Saul, then I can understand. You can change. You can decide where I find myself now. I'm a referee and I must be fair to all. Because that's his job now. He's the referee of the election. I have to be fair to all. I have to make sure that parties function the way they should function, support them the way they support them. That's fine. But it's like somebody who had want to continue his ways from the actions he's taken against African Democratic Congress.
Okay, let's move to the economy now. The inflation rate moved from 15.06% in February to 15.38% in March. And the World Bank has also identified some fiscal gaps in our economy. From your perspective, how would you assess the state of Nigeria's economy right now?
I haven't read what the World Bank have identified recently because I'm sure, but I followed their recent report. But let me tell you, while I follow and maintain Nigerian, in quotes, announced inflation figures, I think the reality is worse than what they're releasing. Because the measure of inflation, some basic measures of inflation are food, housing, and transport. So when you say 15%, let me give you an example. Just yesterday, I went into a restaurant in Abuja. Just yesterday. And while my colleagues were busy, the people I came there with were busy ordering food, I decided to interview the workers in the restaurant. And I asked the first one, "How are you?" He said, "Fine." And I said, "How do you come to work now?" It comes by public transport. "How much was it costing you last year to commute to work?" It was about 700 naira. So how much is it now? It says almost 3,000. What did they say? What does the transporters tell you? He said they talked about fuel, this, that. As the second one, it was a similar situation. Then the food, and I asked them, have they increased your salary, adjusted your salary, since this fuel increase and subsequently cost of transportation? He said no. So how do you cope? They said, we're just managing. How do you calculate this in terms of inflation? The food, the person who took me to the restaurant even said to me, "Peter, this their food used to be about 9,000 plus. It's now almost 18. So when you look at all these calculations, and something is what's happening in the open market. The prices have increased. I'm sure if you talk to government, they say, price of goods have come down. Yes, price of grain, rice, because they imported some cheap rice into the system, which again had hurt our farmers in a way that the recovery would be very difficult for most of them. So that they use it to now say, the price has come down. But that's the price of one item. How about the other items? So for me, that calculation of inflation at times, I just said the reality is worse for me. But even at 15%, it is still high compared with even some of the what I can call country with the same trajectory. I remember our president mentioned that we are better than Kenya. And when I look at Kenya inflation, in the past 3 years, inflation in Kenya is under 4.5%. So we're talking about more than three times that. And the president said we're better than Kenya.
All right, we've depended so much on importation of fuel, one of the structural issues that previous government had always promised to address. And regrettably, with what is happening, some countries had to open their strategic reserves to be able to make life a little meaningful for their citizens. God willing, and you get into office, how do you intend to address this issue on dependence on importation of fuel?
Well, I'm happy that we have started resolving it through the Dangote refinery. Is to encourage other refineries, modular refineries and everything, like it's done everywhere in the world. It is not a difficult thing to do. It is what we require is government commitment to doing what is right.
Why do you think we seem to be averse to modular refineries?
Well, I don't think we are averse to it.
We are not encouraging it. Rather, what we hear is destruction of modular refineries, small ones.
I don't think we are averse to it. We have to have small refineries. We have to encourage Dangote and support him, the big ones and everything. We're not averse to it. We are averse to all these things because of the corruptive way we have operated as a country. How do you tell people that we've had 3 refineries that will be maintaining and paying billions of dollars over the years to resuscitate, maintain them without them doing anything, contributing anything?
You are known for the Anambra model of saving money, avoiding borrowing, and cutting waste. Given our population of over 200 million, inflation rising on a daily basis, our debt profile very high, insurgency crippling the country, if given the opportunity, how do you intend to address some of these issues?
Let me tell you one thing, because when people get it wrong when they talk about borrowing, and they talk about money, I'm not against borrowing. I'm a businessman. I built a business. You cannot build a business or invest in critical areas, even as a nation, without borrowing. There's nothing wrong in borrowing. What is important is, what are you borrowing for? Countries after countries owe more debt than we owe. Japan today owes over 200% of their GDP. But if you go to Japan, you will see what they're using the money for. And again, you can see Japan holding huge amount in US treasuries. So they are borrowing, not only just borrowing. Singapore, which people sent to cite, I don't use it because it's a tiny country. Singapore debt is over 130% of their GDP. But it was all invested. In fact, there's a law in Singapore, like in the most nations, even in ours, all borrowed money must be for investment. Once borrowed money is for investment, you get the value. But when you borrow for consumption, it's a different thing. It's a simple thing. It's like me and you now. I have borrowed to invest in this structure, which you rent for your business, and you borrowed your own for wine carrying of your wife. So the other one has been consumed. So there's no way it can come back to you. So we are not borrowing for, if you look at our debt, for example, before President Buhari became president, in 2013, call it 2015, our entire debt was 13 trillion. National debt, 13 trillion. Buhari came, and in 8 years, I'm talking Naira terms now, to make it 87 trillion. That's what was there when the present government came into being. Buhari paid subsidy in fuel. Buhari paid subsidy in electricity. Now we have a president who says subsidy is gone, no subsidy in electricity. And the reason why he's removing them is that he doesn't want to borrow money to be paying it. And the savings he wants to put in critical areas of development, education, health, and pulling people out of poverty. And now in 3 years, he's borrowed what Buhari has borrowed in 8 years without any of the areas he said improving, and we don't have subsidy again. We don't have this. And we're making more revenue because we're paying more taxes. So there must be something that is missing somewhere. And our budgets are not being funded. We're still operating budget of 2024. The 2025 budget, the entire capital project, the contractors are being owed, and we have had 2026 budget that has just been passed. So we have a double whammy situation. It's like when you say you have borrowed money in order to use it to build a house. Contractor who built the house was not paid. You are owing. So where's the money? Something's gone wrong somewhere.
And what do you make us having running 3 budgets almost concurrently with nothing about the capital component being executed?
It's unbelievable. It's a financial mess. The physical mess is unbelievable.
Where do we hold the National Assembly in this direction?
Well, you know, where we are now, you cannot say we have any institution functional. You know, the first thing somebody who is bent on creating chaos and anarchy does is to ensure that no institution works.
All right, let's put the figures on the table right now. In the last 2 weeks or thereabout, we've had quite a number of persons killed, about 90 or thereabout. We've talked about 49 villagers massacred in KB, Kwara, Plateau, a story of the Emir of Gobia in Sokoto State, also losing his life, and people in that community finding shelter in the bush. In Kaduna, we had 5 persons who were kidnapped in the church, and so on. You don't need to bother
with numbers. Killing is now a normal day thing in Nigeria.
What do you make of the government?
Well, first is to look at where we are. When this government came into being, we are number 8 in the most terrorized country in the world. Today we are number 4. And I'm definitely sure that we'll make number 1 if we continue in this direction. There's no way, because it's not being normalized. So no Nigerian even feels that killing people is something to worry about. When I'm about soldiers, as security men, and I'm being killed, and I'm being, you know, you see when they kill one American soldier, or soldiers of other countries, you will see even giving them befitting burials and honor and everything. Our one is normalized now that nothing is happening. You just read the newspaper and see what it is every day. I said a few days ago that no country would be where we are without declaring a full war. Every other country would have declared war. But we choose not. Even those who are involved, when 200 people were killed in Niger, it it took days for people to visit them. When the similar thing happened in Benue, our president only went to Benue government house and said he could not go there because there's no road. Of course, you saw what happened in Jos. He stopped at the airport. So it's not anything. Nobody sees it as anything going wrong. And this is what we need. These are the things we need to ensure that we change through competent leadership that have the capacity to move, have the compassion to know, to prioritize what, when people are suffering, when people are grieving, when people are in pain.
How do we reconcile the fact that we are spending so much on defense and security, yet we are not getting commensurate results? Because if you look at the figures, it is said that we spent about over 38 trillion naira in the last 15 years on defense and security, fighting insecurity, yet we can't say we are better off.
Again, you can't talk about what we are spending. How do we talk about what we are spending in education? How do we talk about what we are spending in health? These are the figures you're hearing. Remember that the Minister of Health said out of 200 and something budgeted, he only got 36 million. So you don't know how much they have reached the final stage of implementation. So you can't just read the figures from the budget. Now you're confusing it. When you said we are putting 3 budgets simultaneously, how do you know which figure is being got? 2, in a country that is insanely corrupt, like one of the former British Prime Ministers said it, you don't know the amount that was actually spent. And these are things we need to change. We need to have a government that means well, spend money properly and transparently, let people see what they're spending money on and everything. But one thing I can tell you is that these things can be tackled. You need a government that is decisive on issue of security. Because number one thing, a government has to provide security of life and property. You must be decisive. You must take action that people can see visibly and know that you're taking the right action. And the leader must lead from the front. I said it one day, I repeat it today. Where we are now, we're at war. And we must see the leader committed to it. We should have what you can call now war room discussing it around security every day.
If we now have a bandit group or a terrorist group that possess anti-aircraft weapons and ability, and they are shooting down our aircraft, they have the capacity and capability to do that. So
there's no way. That's why I said you declare war. You now know you're at war. They are no longer normal. It is a war situation. And there's no way a non-state actors can have those weapons, be stronger or more armed than the state. Something is amiss.
You've always said that the North is Nigeria's greatest asset for agriculture. With 70% of Nigeria's arable land, food inflation, of course, is over 14%. Now, how do you plan to solve these problems of insecurity and agricultural investment, knowing that farmers hardly even go to their farms again?
Well, it's 2 ways. Let me say, I didn't say it's the biggest, I didn't say that our northern Nigeria is our biggest asset for agriculture. No. Northern arable land in Nigeria is our biggest asset. It's far more important to us than oil. You know, we can make more money from the land in the north than we make from oil. And it's very simple. And I can give you nations after nations that are doing so. It is not a rocket science. It's very easy. Today, I give it to the countries that are net exporter. I'll do a first world, I'll do a second world, and I'll do a third world. If you take Netherlands as the first world, the entire size of Netherlands is 41,000 square kilometers, including water. If you minus water, it's 33,000 square kilometers. And if you check, annually, Netherlands exports 120 billion worth of agricultural products or related products. Netherlands. 120 billion euros, not actual dollars. By the time you convert it to dollars, it's about 130. That is 3 times what we earn from oil. And they're living on 33,000 square kilometers. We have a state in Nigeria called Naija State, which is 76.3 thousand square kilometers. Fertile land. About 5 to 7 states of that state is occupied by bandits. Fertile land. So that means that state can do more than what Netherlands is doing in terms of agricultural products. You have less people living in Niger State than people who live in Netherlands. Netherlands is almost 18 million people. Niger is about 7 million. So they have more space for agricultural products. That is not happening. You look at other states. A state like Borno is again source of problem for us, with terrorists occupying some of the space, especially the Sambisa forest area. Sambisa forest area, the entire Sambisa forest area is about 60,000 square kilometers. That is about 3 times the size of Israel. Israel is 22,000 square kilometers of land. So, and this one is 66. So times 3 is 66. This one is 60. Israel is a net exporter of food. That's what you can call the second world. And then you go to a third world, Bangladesh. Bangladesh today have moved from importer of rice to third biggest importer of, producer of rice. From importer to third biggest producer and net exporter of rice. Bangladesh is the third world. Bangladesh's size is 148,000 square kilometers plus, with a population of over 160 million people, so it's highly dense. Yet, Bangladesh produces 50 to 60 million tons of unmilled rice. We don't produce 10% of that. But there are 2 states that I mentioned to you, 2. Niger and Borno, 76.3 and 70.8 is 147,000 square kilometers, which is about the size of Bangladesh. Today until recently, we're importing tea, we're importing coffee. Ethiopia, I'm giving you countries in Africa. Ethiopia is sitting over about $1 billion in export of coffee. Kenya is doing about $500 million exporting flowers. If you go to Kenya during Valentine and everything, you see planes all moving out of flowers, just flowers. It's not sophistication. We have a land in Mambila area of Taraba. The entire Taraba is 54,000 something square kilometers. I can go on and on. We have a problem in the country. We have land, we have what it takes to change the country. You just need a leader that is competent and understand what other nations are doing, because what they're doing is not rocket science. It's something we can do. We have to build a nation where there's unity, where there's love, where people care, where you wake up in the morning. You're talking about insecuring the place. You have to secure the place using the same people, because these people today you're seeing that are causing insecurity, they did not start with gun. What started it is failure of governance, failure of institutions, failure of justice, failure of social contract. So you have government, they're not doing anything. So you need to go back and start investing in those areas where the children are supposed to be in school, where there's going to be a health provision, where mothers, children can go to hospitals and be taken care of because there's insurance for everybody and all that. And then you start pulling people out of poverty. It's been proven from South America to Asian countries, the more you pull people out of poverty, the more you reduce criminality. This is not science, record science. So there are things you can do. And in critical areas, then you see it happen. And that's what I'm going around preaching and telling people.
You want to be the president of Nigeria, and you are from the Southeast. And there are those who argue that, debatably, whether the Southeast has been treated fairly or not since the end of the Civil War. What's your take on all of these arguments?
Well, you know, I'm one person who don't like to talk about the past. I've had people who say, oh, it's from the Southeast, it's from this. First, let me tell you, these are the things we must stop. Issue of tribe, issue of religion, because no tribe buys bread cheaper. No tribe buys, no religion buys bread cheaper. Everybody is suffering. We're all going through the same thing. And I said, people who bring in tribe are people who are not qualified. So when you ask them about their qualification, their competence, they introduce tribe as a means of getting to where they should not be. When you ask them about their qualification or competence, they bring in religion. I don't want to be voted because I'm from the Southeast. I want people to vote for me because I'm competent. I want them to vote for me because I have the capacity and the compassion and commitment and the character to serve the nation. That's what I want to be voted for. However, it's also important that we unite the country where this should not be an issue. I've had people say things that happened in the 60s and everything. A nation that does not forgive, a nation that does not look to the future will not progress. Yesterday is gone. So we should focus on tomorrow, because we can't change it. And for me, I've said it, I want to change Nigeria. And I'll start by uniting the country, ensuring that we love each other, we care for each other. That's why I said, what I'm going to do in the North will amaze everybody. And I'm doing it because we need the unity. I'm doing it because we need to be secured. I'm doing it because our economy is going to turn around by being productive from there.
While I agree with you on championing the cause of destabilization and reducing emphasis on religion, The Southeast faces a precarious situation, challenges of leadership, challenges of insecurity. Speak to the leaders now in the Southeast, how they can make their youth invest their energy and resources in the
It's
region.
something, it's leadership. If you have one leadership that means well in Nigeria, people say, how can one person change it? Oh, it's not bad. But they read and say, in Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew did it. In India, this person did it. In that, one leader that means well can go a long way in turning around this ship that is sinking. Just one leader. It requires a leader, let me repeat it, a leader that is competent, a leader that has the capacity, compassion, commitment, and most important, the character. It's not a leader that goes and thinks, oh, when I get into office, I will change from fighting corruption, from reducing. When you talked about cost of governance, I tell you, I'll reduce it drastically. I've done it at subnational level. And I'll do it at national level, and people will see it. And I'll be transparent. People will see, if we're going to borrow money, I will first talk to Nigerians. I'll be communicating. As governor, I was speaking to people of Anambra State every quarter. I'm in radio and TV answering questions. As president, I'll do the same thing. I'll tell Nigerians where we want to borrow money, what we are going to borrow it for. So they know, because the money I'm borrowing will impact on them. It will impact on the future of their children and the society they're living in. So I must explain to them why we must borrow that money. And I'll cut costs. People will see it. You will feel it. Everybody. And it's not something, it's something I've done before. Easily.
But there are those who argue that Anambra is a small state to compare to the Nigerian
No.
project.
If you know Anambra, when I came there, whoever can serve, Leia told me that Anambra is difficult. If you can actually govern Anambra effectively, damn, I can. You can do the work in Nigeria. And people keep saying Anambra is small. One of the best American presidents ever is Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton governed one of the smallest states in America, Arkansas. People saw what he was doing in Arkansas and brought him to national stage, and he proved it. They said, how do they do it? Penny what?
Inflation.
So it's very simple. If I can manage 1 naira, I can manage 2 naira. This has to do with character. What people are telling you is that somebody telling you, oh, you can't fight corruption. Can't fight corruption. It's not true. If you are not stealing, your wife is not, your children are not, reduce it by 50%. And I said, is it not me that will approve what they will steal? You have to put your own before you, another person will add his own. I will be in charge. And I'll tell people that you can stop it. And if you do, to put you in jail. We must fight it head on. These are part of the problems we have that is destroying the entire system. But people say, oh, it's very difficult. The monster, corruption will fight back. It's not true. Fighting back is that you got involved. If you don't get involved, nobody will fight back. I was in Anambra for 8 years. Corruption didn't fight back because I was not taking. They didn't see me sharing land and taking my own before, because I have to take my own before another person will take his own.
Since 2015, there are those who said that the Southeast has gotten it wrong when it comes to the Nigerian project.
How?
If at all, there are those who argue that either we put all our eggs in one basket. There are those who feel we don't play the politics of Nigeria well. For you, do you think in any way we've not really gotten our acts well?
Can you tell me which section of Nigeria have put their acts together or have put all their sources of eggs in one basket? Can you tell me what?
Maybe looking from the context of those who have always been in and out of government
No,
as against the Southeast.
Tell me which one has.
They're not.
How?
They've always been in power.
No. They've been in different parties. We're in democratic time. There's nothing wrong in being in different parties. In fact, that if anything, we've acted very well. Don't let people who manipulate you when it suits them. Just tell me where you have one tribe or zone where you just go there, everybody is in one side. They put all their hearts together. That is nonsensical. We're doing the right thing. And let nobody think because our politics is transactional that when you're not in government, you're actually a loser. And what they tell you is that because they are sharing what are you sharing? We're talking about creating a level playing field where people's talent can match up the opportunity. If you create it here, nobody cares who is president. We only care here because it is a transitional government where wealth sharing is what is going on. I'm going into government to create wealth. That's what I've done all my life. When I was a businessman, I took a business from micro to small to medium and was almost becoming a large corporation. Went into the corporate world from small, rose up. When I got into government, I started doing the same thing. I started doing future savings, which is what is saving Norway today. No subnational government in the entire Africa, I'm not talking about Nigeria now, started what I started. Subnational sovereign fund. We started saving in dollars. So by the time I left government, I had $150 million, have investment in corporations and everything that are there. No other place they happen. While investing in critical areas of development. Because often the time people say, oh, what is that? The number one thing you need to invest if you want your country to develop is education. And I took education to its highest level. Today, nowhere in the entire Africa, I'm not talking about Nigeria now, have a subnational state bought the number of computers above for Anambra State, 30,000. HP African director had to come to Oka to say to me, you're in that direction. Provided all our secondary schools with internet facilities, but buses, you can go there, the buses that nobody has done since I left. Buses, everything, make the school to work. Make sure they have facilities, water, system, toilets, everything working. Went and invested into health. Moving in the right direction.
Your Excellency, do you genuinely believe that Nigeria is reformable? And if yes is the answer, why do you think so?
Very easily reformable. There's nothing. Nigerians are actually so, I don't know how to put it, very talented, especially our youth, very talented, hardworking, they're very energetic and ingenious. And now they're going to the wrong direction because of lack of opportunity, the correct opportunities that are there. There are people that can run. They're very entrepreneurial. I've seen some young people whom I listen to. People come to me now and said, oh, you have a lot of youths around you who are rebellious, who are this, who are that. I said, listen, this energy they're using now to rebel, this energy they're now using in the wrong direction, I put it in the right direction. And they become stars. And they make money in the right way. I've seen people who are, they call them Yahoo boys. Yes, some of them are doing what is wrong, but I can tell you, that talent was the same talent India harnessed, and are today one in charge of technology. Go and lead major technological firms today that are in India, put them Get them to know that they can make more money by doing the right things. That talent, you have it in our, of course, in our film industry, have it in our music industry, have it in the social media space. You can harness it and make it turn into something big. Had corporations advertise it. If the economy goes up today, most of them who have huge following in social media will become advertisers of good products, making more money and everything. So they're no longer going to be worried. But when you don't create space, when you don't create opportunity, you create rebellion, you create insults, you create all of those things. These are things I'm going to change.
Given what you've seen in your party, and then is there hope for democracy? And do you think the opposition is doing enough to checkmate the ruling government?
Well, let me tell you, the ruling government's job is actually to encourage opposition. If I have opportunity tomorrow, you see how Nigerian opposition will work. It will be one of the strongest in the whole world because you need to encourage them. A leader must be a learner. A leader must be a listener. A leader must be ready to listen to bad news. And who is going to give you bad news? Who is going to tell you you're not doing well? It's opposition. So you must encourage it because you want to serve. So you want to listen to them. I want to a position where a Nigerian leader, a Nigerian president, a Nigerian governor, which I did when I was there, can invite, go around with the opposition. When I was governor, those who came after me, especially Dr. Chris Ngige, is still there. When I go to school tour, especially around his village, he's there before I come. We will greet. He will even tell me what the school is lacking. It's critical. He goes to my projects and says things are not going well. And I listen to him because he can criticize you. That's what opposition is all about. Opposition is not an enemy, it's a friend.
You have said that the ADC will definitely end the reign of President Bola Tinubu, win at the polls, that ADC will win at the polls.
Well, we are just saying, let's have a level playing field. There's nothing there.
Okay, the Labour Party said as much in 2023.
And
what do you think?
No, and we won. I can show you today, as far as I'm concerned, I have run election for the office of the President of Nigeria and won. But the system decided otherwise. And they know it.
If you won in 2023, won in quotes, and then what is it now that Labour Party didn't do in 2023 that made the system to deny them that opportunity that you think ADC has learned and it will do in 2027?
I can't tell you that, yeah. The only thing I can tell you that given the opportunity, we will now win and they will be declared.
With Kwankwaso and many more bigwigs joining the ADC, are you more confident that the ADC can prove that the current administration is beatable?
Well, you can see it. What we're trying to do in the coalition is to bring together competences, capacities, compassionate people who will be committed in turning around Nigeria. And people with diverse background, so that people can know. Because people will say, oh, but these people were there yesterday. Oh, these people were part of yesterday. Yes, they can be part of yesterday. And I've seen there's need to sacrifice, because if they don't do, you consume everybody.
I listened to some of the speeches at the ADC convention and comments from the bigwigs, including that of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who said if he gets the ticket, this will be his last attempt at the presidency. If the delegates elect him as their presidential candidate and he decides to pick you as the running mate, will you accept?
Well, at this stage, we're not at that stage. Atiku, like I've always said, is my respected leader and my dear elder brother. And his statements, I will always say, is a statement of a leader. And you look at what he used, if. So we can't say what will happen about tomorrow. I can only tell you that I'm contesting the election for the office of the president.
Interestingly, all of you emphasize the fact that it should be more about the party and Nigerians than individuals.
That's it. Very important. Because we have people talk about power capture, get power, do this. What did they use it to do?
Do you sincerely believe that you are all resolved to follow any agreement reached after the primaries?
Well, again, you've asked a pertinent question. You accept what happens after it. If it's through transparent and a process that you can call fair and credible. I've said it before that I've left parties because I found the whole process transactional and a process, and this is critical. The process through people come into office is far more fundamental than what they do thereafter. You cannot jump into the house through the window and start cleaning the house and expect everybody to accept you. The process must be right. We have a clear process which says, if you want to contest office of president, this is the qualification. My qualification is out there for everybody to see. I'm campaigning based on that and everything. And I want to win the primary or the party select me based on transparent, verifiable process, which is worth its place in a democratic environment. Not just that I want, okay, whatever it is, I want to be candidate.
Your Excellency, jokingly, Nigerians say that the present administration even have SSA on Peter Obi. So from the present administration to INEC to party issues, the court, the odds seem to be against their emergence as a candidate and president of Nigeria in 2027. On a scale of 1 to 10, can you rate your chances of being Nigeria's president in 2027?
Well, while I won't rate my chances, I can tell that what you're even saying, I'm going through worse experience than that. What is happening to me in Nigeria today cannot be described. I can't even tell it to people. Because you're looking to where people are probably the most investigated. They're killing all avenues in which you can make a living, deliberately so, ensuring that you're left with nothing. And again, doing all sorts of things to make life insecure for you. And above all, fighting to ensure that you do not emerge as a candidate of a party. For me, they're only making me stronger. Because I believe that I have to fight for the future of society. I do not wish anybody to go through what I'm going today. And for it, it's important for me to ensure that such a thing does not exist in a democratic space. Democracy must be something that the society is determined to bring about for their own development, to be able to enthrone government of the people, by the people, for the people.
In the face
what we have today It's government, a private government for some people, government by some people, and government for some people. That cannot happen. We want to create a society. I met somebody this morning who told me that his parents, when they finish paying his school fees, have nothing left. And here is a Nigerian who is from Far East. He went to school in Minna, went to ABU University, went to America, and was given opportunity. And today is retired, having served faithfully, and is living well with his wife and family. We want that type of thing, where a child of nobody can get up tomorrow and say, I'm somebody, which is what most of us benefited from, but refuse to give it to other people. So you now see somebody who finished with the first class, looking for a job, looking for House of Assembly member in the state, looking for councillor, looking for local government chairman, looking for relation wife of the local government chairman or the sister to help them to get a job. That is not a society. We must have a society where people's talent, hard work, will match up the opportunity and be able to say this society, a child of nobody can be somebody without knowing anybody. Thank you.
Listen, sincerely speaking, wrapping up now, how do you feel? How do you muster the courage, the energy, the zeal to continue to push in the face of this very depressing scenario that you've painted?
Because the alternative is worse for the future generation. We can't bequeath them anarchy, because anarchy consumes everybody. We must bequeath them a better society, and that's what I'm fighting for. And I'm sure there's so many people out there who believe in it and are fighting it with me.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. It's been a pleasure having you on SYMFONI TV. We appreciate your precious time that you spent with us. And once again, thank you for sparing time to be on this show.
Thank you for being...